Hello and welcome to the April edition of That Saints podcast. Well, the season is disappearing before our very eyes. We have another 4 games to review. I'm Graham Cunliffe, and who's here with me tonight? Well, Steve Beach is on the buttons and he's speaking with us tonight, aren't you, Steve?
Yeah, I've actually got a voice tonight, so I don't have to shout 400 miles for you. I'm over here at the back.
The rest of the guys are in, usual suspects. Steve Orford, evening, Steve.
Evening, you alright?
Good. A.D. O'Sullivan's with us.
Now, Graham, you alright, pal?
I'm very good. And Darren Rigby's with us this week. How are you, mate?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That'll confuse a listener.
He set out at 2 o'clock.
What time zone are we in? We're Wigan time zone.
Well, here we are. It's a month ago, we were thinking, well, we've got 4 tough games coming here. Leeds twice, Wigan, Catalans. And I thought we were all a little bit, there was a bit of trepidation a month ago, but we've not done too bad. We're going to go through the last months of games, and we'll look forward to the coming month with some more tricky games coming up, and we'll discuss 1 or 2 other items that have arisen over the last week or 2 in the game, and a few issues around the Saints. So we'll kick off with the initial fixture for the start of the month was Leeds away in a Super League game, 15th of March. Finished up Leeds 8, St Helens 18. Try from Roberts and a couple of goals from Martin, and then Blake, Bennison and Mbai tries for the Saints, and Lomax 3 goals. Nice kicker from Johnny in that game. But I thought this was going to be a tough game, to be honest. But in the end of the day, it seemed quite comfortable. I thought, so I wasn't too nervous about it. Thoughts on that one, Steve? Yeah.
Well, I think it was a tough sort of first half hour. I think Lockie Miller gave us a few problems in that first half hour.
Yeah, they threw it about, didn't they?
He was running at us quite directly, if you like, and causing a few problems, making a bit of ground. But yeah, I mean, the problem they had in both games, Leeds, I think, is that they couldn't score points against us. Our defence was too strong for him. And they've scored 14 points across the 2 games. It's never going to be enough to win games. So we did what we had to. I mean, as we'll probably come on to later, our attack is not sparkling. And we're not scoring many points ourselves, but we're getting by. And I think in both these 2 games, we just about did what we had to get over the line. I think the highlight of this one for me was the Mbai try, which sort of capped the win. Yeah. When he dummied to the right and then went left past O'Connor the younger and sealed the win. Poor old Jared.
Yeah, I thought the Leeds fans were pretty much up for this game. It looked like a big night for them, and then they went into an 8-0 lead, but then they sort of fell off a cliff for me. I thought they looked okay for 20 minutes, throwing it around and keeping us under pressure, and then that was it basically. Once we got back into the game, I didn't see us losing it. Your thoughts there, AD?
I think if Leeds are pinning any chances of success on Lockie Miller, then the mistake, and I think he's like a pantomime horse, to be honest. I think he's almost comedy value. How you can bring a guy in from Sevens who's played 20 odd games of rugby league, give him your number 1 shirt. Yeah, he can dance around and he can avoid people, but he doesn't really know how to play rugby league. I think he's almost comedy value, to be honest.
That was the way in the 80s. Get a bloke in from Union, give him a few games of league.
Yeah, it's fair comment. I mean, as for playing,
takes a while, doesn't it, to adapt.
As for playing Leeds back-to-back 2 weeks running, you get that wet on the first visit, you're still wet on the second visit, you know. The place is abysmal. It's an absolute abysmal place to go watch rugby
stadium.
It's not, it's got 3 good sides.
it's not great for the away fans, is it?
It's not. It's not great for, and there's no parking there. It's just a dog all over the place. I hate it. I liked Mbai's try. That was a nice little bit of niftiness for the way he sneaked in there.
Yeah. But the Bennison try was a good try as well.
The Bennison, yeah, it was, but I think it sounds harsh, this, but like we said, even when we go back to the first game of the season against London, we've got to score more points against a team as bad as that.
Yeah.
We've got to. Yeah. Especially, it doesn't matter in the cup, you've just got to win. But in a league match, you've got to pile on the points. And
to be honest with you, Adi, when that first 20 minutes, I thought, here we go. We're going to get absolutely mullered here, because they were all over us. They were absolutely over us, and I couldn't see any way of us getting out of that game. But then, to be fair to Saints, they come through it. They battled on, and then slowly but surely we started winning that ruck. But like you said, in some of the games, we need to score more tries, and our goal kicking.
Oh yeah.
It's going to cost us.
As good as Johnny was that night, and he was hitting them from the touchlines, but it is going to cost us. Now that, when they came out, I think that's as Graham touched on there, they were up for it, the fans were up for it, with them banging that stupid drum. I mean, you know what they say, if you can't bang a woman, bang a drum. But
we'll come on to that later.
yeah, so they're banging the drum and they're all up for it. But that's what we do, is we take that and we deal with that.
Yeah.
We do it against everybody. But after that, they had nothing giving. And we should be miles ahead of them.
Yeah.
When you look at it, we're a much better team. But again, it's little things like the short kicking game. I think we did, I don't know, it is a month ago, but off the top of my head, I think we put 2 little grubbers in and we got 2 dropouts off it. And that's the sort of thing. I can understand not putting rubber kicks in against Wigan when you've got a back 3, like Saints used to do in the Regan Grace, Tommy Makinson, Lachlan Coote days. Teams were reluctant to put that little kick in because the 3 of them could take you the length of the field. But it's not Wigan, it's Leeds. But as you said, Leeds did start well, and we did come through it and win it. And you know, you take a victory there. And then it just would have been nice to have something to dry yourself off with during the match, you know.
Well, it's a difficult place to go for the first half hour, let's put it that way. And I think most teams are finding it that once they get over that initial Leeds burst, that they tend to fall away, don't they? I think there's a lot of aggravation on social media at Leeds about their style of play at the moment, and I can understand why.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we spoke here, I think, early doors when we were looking, talking about players, for the season who we sort of looked at being frightened of. And you're talking about the 2 lads who come from Salford, and to be fair, other than the couple of Ash Hanley wonder tries, have they really done anything else that you've?
I think they've gone backwards from where they were at Salford.
I think I was going to say Brodie Croft is like.
I'd have had him at Saints last year.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
You would. He just doesn't look the same player. I don't know what they've managed to do to him.
It's at the moment it's the Smith effect, isn't it? At Hull and Leeds.
Yes, I agree with you.
The reverse Midas touch.
It's got to be. I mean, especially when you get the commentators harping on about how good Frawley is. You think, hang on, what's wrong
I
here?
think Frawley is the problem. I still think Croft walks into every other team in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Frawley does. I think Frawley's been there before with the Giants and looked terrible.
Ordinary, yeah.
And now he had a decent start at Leeds, but now he started to kind of look like the player he was when he was at Huddersfield rather than the player he was at maybe the start of the season.
Okay, well, but that's the league game, and then 7 days later.
Oh, sorry, a tremendous away following for that league
It was
game,
actually.
by the way.
Yeah,
Was it 1,300?
I think
Something
at
like-
least. I mean, it was
noisy.
It was a
noisy.
great following, and it's
They all
like,
got wet apparently.
yeah, slightly,
They're still wet.
slightly,
I think
mildly moist.
I think I tweeted the other day about our away following this year. Huddersfield, Leeds again, and then Catalan. There's not been less than 1,000 fans at any one of them
That's
games from
huge,
Saints.
that is huge.
I think it was 1,350 at Huddersfield, something like 1,300 at Leeds, 1,200 at Leeds, and then to take another 1,100 to Catalan.
And that's on the back of not winning the league this year before.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's brilliant, absolutely fantastic from the Saints following.
Yeah, no, it goes without saying. I think we're arguably the best away support.
We have. I don't
Substantially.
like that. At the moment, there's no arguing about that, but then it's easy to follow a team away that's won 4 consecutive titles in the last 6 years, isn't it? But it is good, and Leeds is taking my dislike of them out of it. It's such a difficult getting there, parking, there's nowhere to park, access to everything about it is bobbins, unless you live in Leeds.
It's like going back to Knowsley Road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrendous. It's horrendous.
So you decided to go back the week after then?
So funny you should mention that because the next game, funny you should mention that, the next game is Leeds away in the cup, and I think this was almost a carbon copy of a game. To be fair, it was. Finished Leeds 6, Saints 20. Leeds went into a lead from a breakaway with Newman breaking away from a Johnny miss-out ball that missed everybody except Newman.
Newman.
And who raced about 90 yards and was celebrating halfway there.
Yeah. Apparently his dad was on Twitter before he'd actually put the ball down.
But that was it for Leeds, I think, from my viewing of the game.
They didn't offer much in the cup at all.
No.
For me, the Saints, what really stood out with Saints is Marcus Mbai. Not Marcus, Moses.
Moses, yeah.
Moses Mbai, should I say, sorry, at 7. And his kicking game was something else.
Yeah.
And it offered.
100%.
I've never seen anybody, in a Saints 7 kick that well for a number of years. You didn't know what he was going to do next.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
That's absolutely. I thought the cup performance was much better than the league, especially when you think that they'd had a rehearsal for it the week before, but then that says to me that we've got better coaches than Leeds.
Yeah.
I think that in the Challenge Cup match, completely out-coached Smith.
Yeah.
With virtually the same teams. But like you said there about Moses playing at 7.
He was good.
And his kicking game, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
And
because I think at first when we saw that he was there, I think there was that sort of bit of type of scenario, wasn't there?
Well, we do know, Steve. We talked about it last season that he can play in the halves. He can play. I don't know if he's an expert in any one position, but he's pretty decent in a number of positions.
Yeah.
And it worked, and it worked really, really well.
Well, he was key in both games, I think, because he created a couple of tries and some nice, sensible, composed play and a flick pass. I think the Benison try and the Blake try, he was taking control of the situation and.
Do you know what else I think?
Got the try, got the lads across the line.
Was it the Challenge Cup match where we started seeing Wingfield more in at 9? Because we've got options there. I mean, Wingfield
because Mbai was playing 7.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's come through Wingfield. Apparently, I didn't know this until recently. Played a lot of 9.
Yeah.
As he's been coming through in his career. Now, that gives us some really interesting options there.
Yeah.
Because he's a big lad to be playing 9. But we've got options there. We just need to figure out the best way to use them. But I agree with Dazza here. I think that the cup performance was much better than the league performance.
Well, we did go 6-0 down, but then Darryl Clark, a classic Darryl Clark try, beat three or possibly 4 men from the play the ball to go over. Another try from Benison and a strange try from Walmsley at the end to tap it up to 20 points.
There were 2 off kicks, weren't there? That second half, they got deflections. So a little bit fortuitous. But our defence was the game, like you say. The only sniff they got was the Newman interception. Other than that, it didn't really look like scoring that night, I didn't think. I think we adjusted to Miller from the week before pretty well, and that sort of shut them down.
But is it our defence that's won us what it's won us over the last 4 years?
Largely, I think so, yeah. Yeah. I don't think our attack was great under Wolf. It was functional.
I think we've got our defence and individual moments of magic from the likes of Johnny Lomax, from Jack Wellesby a number of times.
Yeah.
But I've agreed with what Steve said for the last few years. It was always defence based.
Yeah.
We had a little patch under Wolf that, as he said himself, that once they earn the right to attack, he'll let them do what they want. But they've got to get the defence 100% right. But we've not seen nowhere near it. We've almost wasted some of the most talented players we've ever had at the club because of our style of play. I'd just love to be able to see him just let loose.
It's like we're out coaching him, isn't it? Yeah, it's like we're over coaching, out coaching, whatever you want to call it.
This is becoming a little bit of a theme at the moment, isn't it? That we are fantastic in defence. We generally concede the least points of everybody, but very recently, or suddenly, the last 18 months, maybe a bit longer, we are not scoring enough points. We are just scoring more than we're conceding, which is not good going forwards, I don't think. And I think it's a concern that is creeping into a lot of comments I'm hearing around where I sit in the stands, that this is not good. There's a few games where we haven't scored a point for 35, 40
We didn't score second half against Catalan on Saturday.
Did anyone see the stat that in the last 8 matches we've played against Wigan and Catalan, we've only scored more than 13 points once?
Entirely possible, yeah.
In the last 7 or 8 games against them two.
I wonder how many of those we've won and lost though, because our defence. That might be enough for that defence.
That's a trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah. I 100% agree with you there, Steve. But it's the it's that going. It's that lack of attacking
It's a
creativity.
lack of variety, isn't it?
Now, I think we've got to be fair in the sense that I saw my arse at times last season with Lewis Dodd, but this season I think he's tenfold better than he was last year.
I think he's over his injury now. I think.
Yeah. So I don't know if the fact that last season we basically played with one half back, I don't know if that's fair or not.
One and a half, probably.
I don't know if that's fair or not, but I'm not sure what the.
Well, then again, the one game that he missed, Mbai comes in and provides a better kicking game than you see from Dodd in the last 2 years.
That's hard. That's
hard to
harsh reality
to a certain degree.
But
I think you're right.
it's
Yeah,
the
but it is hard.
It's the harsh reality.
I wouldn't have Dodd's running threat, but Dodd doesn't run as much as I think he should.
No.
I think there was a spell last season, wasn't it, when Fraser knew? He went ill, didn't he?
And Matty Smith
came in, and at that point, our season seemed to just turn over, didn't it? And our attack seemed to go from nothing to everything.
But we were scoring tries that were like 4, 5, 6 passes going down the short side, and then 3/4 length.
And everyone was like, "What's happened mid-season for this to change?" And the only thing that had happened was Matty Smith going into that position. But so this season, you're thinking, right, you've got both of them now sat next to Wellens, and it makes you wonder who is actually controlling that attack. Because at the end of the day, do we need a bit more influence from Matty Smith? I don't know how much he's giving and what he's not giving.
Whichever of them it is that's running that attack, it's going to struggle because it's not got enough pace.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever you do tactically, it's going to struggle this year, I think.
Yeah.
And one or two of them need to be shipped out and replaced.
We need some speed.
We'll come on to that later. That's one of the talking points for later on. But the next up was Good Friday, the visit of the World Club Champions. Oh. Doesn't that hurt? Totally wicked. The basic facts of the game: Saints.
You
12.
can get your extra hour-long podcast on this.
I was just going to say, can we have a vote for the new chair of the podcast after that one? That's a shocking thing to come out with. Gary Tinsley will be going green in Spain, won't he?
He will. Basic facts of the game: Saints 12, Wigan 4. Tries from Huddle and Makinson, and goals from Lomax and Percival for Saints, against a try for Wigan by French. Now, that was the basic facts of the game. It doesn't tell the whole story of the game. Steve, your thoughts on this game?
Well, it's a very similar story, isn't it? Defence wins us the game in the end. For the record, I don't know if you all agree, but I didn't think French's try was a try anyway.
No.
But it took Liam Byrne to get sent off, I think, for us to be able to break them down. I didn't believe with much conviction that we would have broken them down until that happened.
French scored after we were 2-0 up for the penalty, and French scored his try after 56 minutes.
In the second half to go 4-2,
Byrne was then sent off on 63 minutes.
Yeah, then we scored 2 tries in the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Last 10 minutes. Yeah. And one came from a Dodd lob for Makinson as well. So, again, didn't enough in attack in the context of the game, but it showed you the same flaws we've just been discussing, that there's not enough pace in the team, not enough guile, and defence won us the game again.
I think my view of that game was that both teams cancelled each other out effectively until Byrne had gone, and when there's a little bit more space on the pitch. I think we nullified their main threats, so I think our game preparation was probably about stopping French in field, and we certainly did that in that game, because I don't remember any incidents really where they were a threat, to be honest, apart from the French try, which wasn't a try in my view. I agree with Steve. But then again, it's a Wigan disputed try, so it's never a try for me. But again, there's only 16 points in the whole game. We scored 2 tries in the last 10 minutes to win the game, and up until that point, it's arguable that we didn't really look like scoring. Can you think of any?
I don't think we'd score. Well, the one chance that stands out is when Dodd broke the line and got run down by Field in the first half. But I thought it was a bad decision by Dodd to even try to outrun Field.
Yeah,
because you're not going to get outrun Jack Field very often.
It's easier to go through him because he's not the best tackler.
Unless he pulls a hamstring, you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
So he should have come back inside for me, but obviously he chose a different route. He's obviously a confident lad and thought he would. Thought he would get there. Ended up over the sideline.
Well, on that particular thing with Dodd, I genuinely think that because it wasn't that far from the line and the position they were both starting in, before his Achilles, I think he scores there. I think he gets, because Field only caught him 2 yards from the line.
Yeah.
I think he scores it. And in for last season, I was critical of him, and then we put it down to having the confidence in his Achilles after his injury, etc., etc. So it was kind of nice to see him. We was crying out last season for him to have a go at stuff like that. I don't mind him doing that because he's obviously thought I might be able to get it here. If it's any further out, I don't think he even tries it. But it was only 35 yards from the line, and he had the positional advantage, or as quick as Field is. So I've no issue really with him going for that. As for when Graham said about the two teams cancelling each other out, they are way more potent than us in attack. It's just that we didn't let it. If both teams had have been able to cut loose and attack, we wouldn't have won it, but because we didn't let them cut loose at all. And I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. For me, that was down mainly to Johnny Lomax. The way he marshalled that defence was, he was like a conductor in an orchestra. He was unbelievable. Every time Field got the ball, Lomax was on him and he couldn't do anything. Whenever the ball was going to French, Lomax was pointing and cajoling and guiding those defensive structures to where they needed to be. And defensively it was a masterclass, I think, from Lomax. But I mean, it was one of the most enjoyable Good Friday matches I've had for a long while, but not because it was a good game. I think the whole spectacle itself.
It was a full house, and it was a tense, brutal game.
Well, what I would like to add, Graham, is I've been whinging about Saints not doing anything pre-match.
I was just going to mention this. Yeah.
So they tried something a bit, and on the morning, I said to Steph there, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to go down early. I'm going to go down real early because I can't sit there blabbling on a podcast that one man and his dog might listen to, but still whinging about the Saints not doing anything. And then they try something, so I'm going to go and support it. So just in case there's not many people turn up, I just want to go and at least say, well, I was there. Now, Steph texted me who also went early at about 12 o'clock, 12:30. She said, is there many people there? She said, it's chocker. I got there about 12:15. There must have been 5,000 people outside that ground. It was incredible.
Doing what?
Just they were all they were bringing the players from the.
I saw this.
The roundabouts is going into Tesco. So the coach had parked in Glass Futures. So all that footpath there, they had lined with stewards, and the crowds were all building up there, and there was all sorts of pyros and fireworks, and as the players came through, the roars went up and all, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was, and as they've come through, Daniel Clark was at the front, and like the players a bit, because we were near the beginning, but you could see the players rise with it. You know, it was fantastic. It was great.
They treated it like when they go into Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Because for the grand final, that's how they. And for me, this is an IMG thing. I think that they've sort of said, that's good what they've done there at that grand final. That's what the type of thing you need to look at for your big games. I mean, I saw that on social media the day after. I thought, my only downside to that was...
We've got a perfect setup for it, Steve.
It wasn't advertised enough beforehand. Otherwise, it would have been more than 5,000.
Yeah. I mean, and as far as you could see, the sea of people, but that set up the whole atmosphere the whole day then. So then by the time you get into the stadium, it's already at fever pitch. Yeah. And as an occasion, it's the best Good Friday I've been to. Take the match out of it, because the match, it was tense, it was brutal, it was tough, but it wasn't high on quality because, like you say, it was it was a defensive battle. It was. But as a day, it was the most enjoyable Good Friday I have had for many, many years. That I thought it was a fantastic occasion.
They had the singer on as well, didn't they? Getting the crowd going.
Jack Bennett,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was great. He kind of reminds me of that Jamie fella. Is it Jamie? Him who does Liverpool fans? It might be a 2-bob version of Jamie Webster, whatever his name is.
That's right. Yeah.
But I don't care. He's our 2-bob version, and it worked. It worked. And even when you get people where I sit singing along with us, and it was nice. I loved it. I thought it was top class the whole day. I thought it was brilliant.
The other thing as well, I mean, you were on about the game there. It was a dour game in the sense of it was it was defensive.
It was exciting.
Yeah, from a visual, I will watch it on television, but from a visual, I mean, it was one of those that if you were coming to that as a sort of first timer dipping in type of thing, you thought, oh, hang on, this is really good. But if they'd have put that, if they'd have shown some of that, when the players were coming in as well, that would have enhanced it even more. To the television viewer, because obviously, like you say, if there's like 5,000 or so outside, people are going to go, hang on, what's this? Is it just a league match? What's happening here? For the final, you can understand those types of things. But, to put that effort in, which is great, and hopefully, I'm sure that will be reciprocated when we play them.
I mean, there still wasn't, I mean, you couldn't have that day because of the amount of people, but there wasn't as much outside the ground as you would get at Salford. Even when even when I go and watch Oldham, there's a lot more going on outside the ground. But it was perfect for that day.
Yeah.
And the fact that they let the young uns stand there with the pyros and the red flares and it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. It took me back to being a kid again.
I kind of just mention as well, John Bennison started wearing black boots.
Oh yeah,
Real rugby player.
When it comes, I know when I said that about was you a similar thought? Daz,
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I think last time I was on the pod, we mentioned about what Wigan were doing at their ground, and that's every game. We said like Saints need to up their game in that department, and I thought everything there was bang on. The player entrance, the singing, getting the crowd going, the pyrotechnics going off, the flags on the pitch with all the kids from all the youth clubs and all the youth rugby clubs and that. It was absolutely fantastic because you want everybody to be involved. Yeah. The
other thing I liked about it, and this was something that I was going to ask later on as well, when they came on with the flags, they had Union Jack flags on as well, which I thought was good because obviously from a television point of view now, it can be seen all around the world. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like before, you could try and get hold of it somewhere. But my two lads are over at States at the moment, and they were, they only saw it 2 days later, but they were engrossed in it, like they were there, and it was great to see all the flags and everything, like you say.
No, it was good. And obviously the game was brilliant, brutal game. But nice to get the win, go and have a few pints afterwards.
I'm not so sure that we wouldn't have won if Burn stayed on. I think that we were
Wigan win the ascendancy then, weren't we?
Yeah, but we were that good defensively.
We were very good. Defensively. Yeah.
The Makinson try was just. I mean, I thought, here we go again. It's another Lewis Doddle, and he reversed the kick to the other side. And that was the timing of Makinson's run.
Perfect.
He's looking a little bit high mileage, shall we respectfully say, Tommy Makinson. But his timing and his jump, and to jump up, catch it, and hit the deck so quick, it was just magnificent. It truly was magnificent. And I don't think you can. I'm not prepared to say that if Burn doesn't get sent off, that we don't win it. I'm just not prepared to say that, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Is the other question as well about what did you think? What did everybody think about those two incidents? Obviously, the sending off, and obviously the other one, which was 10 minutes, which for me,
I thought they were the wrong way around.
I thought exactly that.
We're talking about the Talented 3 incident.
A lot of people have since told me that it was the right call. People who watched it on TV, I was in the stadium. People who watched it on TV, but that to me suggests then that the rule is wrong.
Yeah.
If you're allowed to lead with your forearm and hit somebody in the chest or throat area, like he did, that to me, if that's not a red card offence, where are we on playing welfare? Why are we talking about getting the game insured and making it future-proof if we're allowing that?
For me, he led with the elbow there. So that was, whether he hits him initially in the throat or the chin.
And it wasn't a ball-carrying arm. Sometimes you can understand it as much as you don't like it. So you would think if you're leading with the arm that's not got the ball in, like you said, so the intent's there, isn't it?
I can more see that the Liam Byrne was a a tackling. In Formula 1 they'll call it a racing incident. It's a tackling incident, the Liam Burt, whether it's like maybe the attacker's going down, he's got the tackle technique slightly wrong, but the Dupree one, I agree with Steve Orford that you can't just go steaming in with it.
But it's the same for me as the attacker or the forward that runs into tackles and turns his shoulder. So if he's attacking with the shoulder, he's putting the defender as much at risk as a defender doing a shoulder charge, and that's another thing that needs sorting. So they were both for me. They were both reds for me.
Yeah, because we were on about this a couple of seasons ago with Akawala at Warrington. He used to do that, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he creamed Percival with it, didn't he?
Right,
He absolutely wiped Mark Percival out doing that, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think Burns would be a red card last year, but I think with the interpretations this year, it probably is.
Yeah.
Which one did you think was worse, Steve?
Dupree all day long.
Yeah.
I thought that was a violent act, as
Yeah.
opposed to a bit of a lazy shoulder gone wrong sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's the way you follow through with the elbow, because initially, okay, you can argue, it is chess, but then he doesn't need to raise up to the head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now,
It's
it was the right thing to do at the moment, and I was so proud of him for the way that Matty Lees took that. The whole ground was horrified, and he bounced straight back up.
Yeah.
But if Matty Lees stays down,
If Matt Lee stays down, he gets sent off.
it's an instant red, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is an instant. I mean, I'm glad he didn't, because there's more and more of this creeping in. We're going to speak about the Catalan game and that
we will.
cheating get who did it, but
The footballification of rugby league.
Man, you've seen that some of the 15 seconds early, he just creamed Luke Thompson with an absolute blinder.
He is currently sat down for 2 games.
now that to me looked like it was he nailed him with a belter of a tackle, but again, was that almost an accidental head clash?
May have been, but in the current climate, it's a ban, isn't it?
Well, he's been banned for it already.
What
2 games in.
So the ban is because it's endangering the safety of another player. Yeah. Which game did we have when it was 2 players of the same team completely
Just one a weekend.
sparked it? Yeah. Who was what was the 2
Tom
players?
Johnson got sparked out by
That
his
was
own
it,
player.
Tom
It
Johnson.
was Tarek Sims that hit him though.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So I know.
who's getting banned there?
I know we're going to talk. I know we're going to talk about this as our match in a minute, but just that one specific incident, that's exactly the same thing. It's an accidental clash of heads, and one player is in an almighty mess with it.
Yeah.
And so how can just because it's exactly the same thing, even when they're in a different colour shirt?
Yeah.
It shows how bananas. So if you're doing it to look after the welfare of the players, it's
Well, this is. I'm going to come on to
it's
this.
insane.
I'm going to come on to this in another context after the Catalan game later about the disciplinary and the refereeing situation. But that incident with Percival wasn't even given as a foul from memory, or the referee didn't pick it up
If Percival had got up
and played the ball, it would have been play on.
because Kendall didn't know about that with Percival. He'd carried on. He was letting the game carry on.
Yeah.
And but for the facts, let's just say if it's, I dare say, let's say Jack Wells, because he's got previous for a little bit of play acting. Mark Percival hasn't. No. He's hard, he's granite tough, Mark Percival. But for the fact that it was him and he was still on the deck and he was all Tweety Birds.
Yeah.
Kendall wasn't going to give you right. He wasn't going to give anything for that, Chris Kendall.
Because I don't think he was on the wrong side of it, because there was another defender in front of Byrne. It was only when Percival stayed down and the video ref had a look at it.
See, I didn't see it myself in the ground. I don't know about you, because you're on the same stand as me.
Not clearly, no.
It was only when I looked at the big screen, and because you see Percy down, you think, well,
Hang on.
Well, Carla Moore actually said that's not like him. He said Matt Percival for stare down is just not like him. He said that on television.
I was still queuing at the West Stand then, didn't see it.
you were still outside getting ice cream.
Still stood there holding a pyro thing. When's this team coming in?
But do you think when that incident happened and eventually he got sent off about 5 minutes later when Percy had been sorted, didn't that change the game in Saints' favour? I know you say that we may not have won, we would have still won without Byrne getting sent off. I definitely think it put Saints back on top there, because there was 2 runs then from Bennison and Wormsley straight through the middle.
Well, there
turned it around.
there might have been, but I'd much sooner us have Mark Percival in the team and Liam Byrne be in their team.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Liam Byrne be sent off and Mark Percival be carried off.
Yeah.
And they said sometimes, don't they, that it's actually harder to play against 12 because you suddenly start doing things that, going off sort of processes because you think, oh, there's going to be space here somewhere.
When Wigan looked at our team on that Good Friday, there would only be a handful of players. There would only be a handful of players that would be frightening Wigan.
Yeah.
Jack Wellsby, one of them. Mark Percival, one of them. Because when he's on, you can't do anything to stop him. He do you know what I mean? He's unplayable. And then when you take him off the pitch, it's. I don't think it had too much of a bearing, to be honest.
And I don't think it was an attempt to take Percy out of the game.
No,
not
at all.
There's no intent there. No intent.
But the sending off of Byrne was negated by us losing Percival.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Easily.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, well, 3 out of 3 in March there. Very happy with that at that point, weren't we? And a trip to Catalan's on the horizon. So, last Saturday, where do we go with this? Let's have a look. The basic facts are Catalan 14, Saints 8. McMeekin and Ikovalu for tries for Catalan, 3 goals from Morg, tries from Makinson and Wellsby for Saint, and no goals. So where do we start with? Steve, you can start with the Catalan
no
game.
goals. That stands out, doesn't it? Certainly stands out a little bit, that one. It's been a problem, as I said earlier on, it's been a problem all season, really. Probably even longer than that. Since Dodd got injured against Wigan like 2 years ago. Yeah. And he hasn't been kicking since. He kicked 1 goal, I think, since, or 2 goals since. We haven't got anyone who's reliable in that department, to get no goals out of 2 or 3 attempts there has cost us. But what's really cost us, again, I'm going to come back to the same theme again, is our lack of attacking,
prowess,
and threat, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have had 1 more try than we did. I think the obvious incident to point at, the pivotal moment was the Dodd no try where he goes over the line. All he's got to do is ground the ball, and he goes 2 metres into the in goal before he dives and gets turned over by Arthur Morg.
Yep.
I mean, great defensive play by Morg, fair play to him.
But he shouldn't have.
He's got to score that all day long, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous that he doesn't score that. So I think that was really, really costly.
It was at a crucial time as well, that, because we would have put us 2 scores ahead.
But I mean, largely, I thought the game overall, similar to the Wigan game, I thought was a bit of a grind and a bit dull and a bit, not great quality, despite what Stuart Pike and Kevin Brown kept telling me about it being a classic. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a little bit meh.
All for BBC 3, that's all I can say.
Yeah, well, do you know what? BBC 3 called it perfectly. They said it was a mistake-ridden defensive battle.
Yeah, but I watched both. I watched BBC Live and I watched Sky when they do the rewatch for the Blood.
Oh, I didn't.
I watched it on Sky.
And
the way that they covered it
different
was
game,
so different.
Really? No, I didn't. I don't. If I can not give Sky any credit, I won't. I'll sooner watch it.
Well, they thought it was a classic.
I switched at half time because
I did exactly the same.
You mentioned you watched on BBC because you mentioned Paul Rowley being really good analysis.
Can I just say there as well? Another thing. Unless you said that, Eddie, I don't know. Got a clue that was on BBC 3.
I hadn't seen it advertised anywhere. Just through skipping through the planners.
But the commentary and the analysis was chalk and cheese, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, is it Stuart Pike that did the Sky one?
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to get excited about something that's happened 10 seconds before. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're in a studio over in London or Salford Keys or somewhere like that, trying to comment on the game as we're watching it. It's, it just it doesn't work.
And he was calling the 6 agains about 3 tackles too late.
I like to try and be nice. I like to try and be nice about Stuart Pike because he's been a lifelong Saints season ticket holder and all. He's a massive Saints fan, but no, it wasn't the best commentary team.
But when he says Luke Littler's just gone in for his 3rd try, so there's just something wrong.
It'd be hard to stop him though, wouldn't he?
I thought
he could play prop.
Close to the line, I don't fancy it.
I thought Catalan were there for the taking on Saturday. I know it was a tough game, but we've not won there in the league since 2008,
17, isn't it?
18, I think it was it?
I thought we won
About
the
6 years, isn't it?
2 years,
Something like that,
I think it was a cold February,
Yeah.
because I was over there with my granddad and my dad and our Paul. But yeah, we've not won over there since, and I feel sorry for the fans because it's a cracking,
It's a great trip, isn't it?
trip. Absolutely love it, but you know, you go over there and they've been disappointed season after season after season. The Saints players have tried it going over there and back in a day. They've tried it going, staying over. They've tried it going on the fun bus and coming back. You know what I mean? They've tried all these different ways, but
Try going with ref.
They try going with the ref. You know, staying over with the ref. Mike Rush sleeping in the same bed. You know, and all that stuff. But no, you know, it's. I don't know what the answer is to try and get a win over there because it's frustrating.
I think there's a really fierce rivalry when we go. I think they get up for us more than any other team.
It's like a cup final for them when we go there, isn't it?
They don't like us.
Is there a reason for that? Or?
I would imagine Old Trafford and Bernard Gouache's comments might have a little bit to do with it. I don't know.
That's only like a year and a bit ago, isn't it? It's not a history of bad feeling.
They've just been a good team, and a difficult place to win. But I think, as Daz has just said then, that with no McAlorum, with Jordan Abdul going off after 15 minutes, with Tom Johnson going off after half an hour.
One of the prop forwards went off, I think, as well. Can't think.
But I mean, I know you had Garcia that was absolutely creating havoc, but as Steve said, on 55 minutes, they'd only looked like one winner in that game.
Yeah.
We were completely bossing that game.
Yep.
And again, we put the one little grubber kick that we did put in the whole game, we get a drop out from it, you know, which and again with the finish of Dodd, if he scores that try to put us, what would it have been, 14-6 in front?
Would have 14-6 if the goal had been kicked.
Yeah. So, he was virtually under the sticks.
There was a chance with
which is a big if these days. But
well, yeah, that's true. So if you get 14-6 with, by the time the kick's done, 23 minutes left, you would think that Saints, being the Saints that is effective but rather boring, will keep them out.
That game,
yeah. They certainly ain't going to let happen what happened at the end of last season.
No.
In the last second, but he doesn't score it. He doesn't finish it.
I'm going to be critical of two players, really.
Go on.
Like Benningson, no, because he was solid all that game, apart from one drop ball, which then they knocked on the next set. So that sort of, for me,
kicked it at him as well all day long.
All day. He took everything apart from that one, and a lot of Saints fans unfairly are giving
They didn't kick to
Benningson.
Tommy once.
No,
I think he's a great player, Benno.
There was two players that I thought let the team down, and I'm going to say this, but Alex Walmsley, for me, a few games this season, he can't keep hold of the ball.
He has
the
dropped a lot.
amount of knock-ons
dropped a lot of
in key parts of the game.
He did it Good Friday.
Good Friday.
He did it Good Friday.
Key parts of the game,
Right
he's
under the
knocking
sticks.
on. And for a senior player to do that, it's like going backwards, because when he started his career, he couldn't play the ball correctly. And so for me, like, one player was Alex Walmsley, which I thought he wasn't great. And also Conrad, I don't know how much space he wants to give Tommy on that side.
Giving the giggly flick.
Come in 5 metres. You're giving him literally a metre to work in and trying to do a magic flick out, and it just doesn't work. And I know one of them was on the final play, they're trying to do something, but for me, again, that comes down to what you were saying, Steve, about the attack. It just seems off. We just don't seem quite there.
Our last tackle options are awful, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really. I mean, there's just nothing there at all.
But if you're not organised yourselves properly and you've got no pace to begin with, you've no chance, have you? You've no chance of, being effective if you've got no organisation plus no pace.
And do you think the lack of pace is the reason that we almost at times seem frightened to put a little kick in on the last tackle, just in case somebody with wheels makes a break? Because
that's something I've noticed. Even Wolf didn't do that very often. Even Wolf would have him put a kick in, and he was quite a negative coach, I thought.
Yeah, but he did have Regan Grace
kick in,
and a quicker Tommy Makinson on the wings, didn't he?
He did.
And I don't know if it's like Wigan especially and Warrington especially, that like we used to do ourselves with Coote, Grace and Tommy. The amount of times team would put a little kick into us.
He also had Nagama and a younger Percival.
Yeah. And all of a sudden we are 50, 60, 70 metres down the pitch. But I think it's a fair shout that with Worms. He's had a couple of.
Don't get me wrong, he won us the game against Wigan.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's the flip side of that is the mistakes, and especially against Catalan, 2 big mistakes.
Is
I
it
think
trying too hard?
Possibly, I don't know.
Is it trying? I think as an opposite to that, what I would say in the last 4 games, I think our best player in the last 4 games has been Sione Matautia. Considering he's played 3 different positions in 4 games.
Well, let's not.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? How can the guy who stands in at prop be the same guy standing at centre?
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me.
But it's a sign of how good he is, and I think he's been pushing for man of the match in every one of the last 4 games.
That just shows what we're making do for me.
Let's deal with this. Let's deal with the elephant in the room now before we do it as a talking point. Then let's talk about our attack now, rather than discuss it later on. It's a problem. I can't remember going back to the last 6 or 7 games. I can count on one hand the number of passes a winger has had on one hand on attack. They're getting plenty of passes in defence and running out.
Yeah.
Centres don't get that many.
I think the point that Daz has just made about when Conrad keeps trying to get the ball to Tommy Makinson, but you can't give Tommy the ball when he's
pushing him.
He's already in row C.
He's only a metre away from. I don't know enough about the coaching side of rugby. I've not got a clue. No. And that's why I like to. It's a shame he's not with us tonight, but I like talking to your Paul, because remember how Dan used to do it. He used to be able to break it down for us because he's coached and because he's played all. Yeah. Because I don't know. All I can do from my point of view is I think we need more James Bell. Yeah. I think Jack Wellesby needs his hands on the ball more, and Lewis Dodd needs to do more little kicks.
There's certainly lots.
So that's just a bloke on the terrace who's never coached.
I agree with that. I think the best thing about our attack at the moment is the forwards passing the ball to the line. Yeah. There's 2 or 3 of them there who are quite capable of creating gaps. Bell being the obvious one, who create gaps that way. The worst thing about it for me is just the entire back line is too slow and disorganised.
Mm-hmm. I think Wellesby's got the pace, but he's never in the right position for us to get the benefit of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to add what you've just said about the forwards there. I think, bizarrely enough, that the one player who's benefiting most from James Bell is Morgan Knowles. I think Morgan Knowles is slowly starting to learn how to be a loose forward, but it's only since James Bell. Because Morgan never used to do the little passes, he's trying those now. But he's only trying them because he's got James Bell there who is showing him exactly how to do it. He's a wonderful player.
Bell has made a couple of tries with getting through the line and feeding the ball out and short passes.
Well, he made that chance for Dodd on Saturday, but he gave the ball to Wingfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see. I mean, we started the first couple of games this season. We were firing the ball to Matt Whitley, and he was running. We're not getting the ball to Whitley at the right time and the right pace.
Scored 3 tries in his first 2 games. He's not had a pass since.
Yeah, and we're not I don't think we're utilising Daz Clark in the way that I'd like us to.
I think with Daz Clark, he's making them yards from dummy half. However, there's no support. Yeah. If you watch Daz Clark half the time, he's running on his own. Where's the backing up there? Where's the second rowers? Where's the centres to back him up on that play? I mean, the amount of times...
He's probably quicker than the centres.
He probably is,
He's surely quicker than Hull, I would say.
But, the amount of times we're on, the opposition line and, years gone by, you would have flung it out, 2 passes, missed, Tommy in the corner, bang, spectacular try. Now you're hoping for someone like Wormsley or Bell or, Knowles, who our second rowers, to barge it over. And there doesn't seem to be that taking the defence on, bringing in 3 players and then getting out the back. For me, apart from that Wellesby try at Catalan where he just scooted through, there just doesn't seem to be enough of that.
But when we do it, we can do it. I mean, the Benison try at Leeds was through 4 sets of hands and he's in the corner. Yeah. But why aren't we doing it more regularly? It seems to be it's 5 at least.
Because we can't always play Leeds.
I mean, last season we brought Ritz in, and I think he had a run of about 5 games, something like that. I remember him getting the ball once.
He's never had a pass.
I think he got it at Hull, and this wonder speedster that we were all hoping for got caught by a second rower.
If you remember, he got blitzed by Darnell McIntosh
Was
as
it
well.
Darnell
McIntosh just run the boots off him.
But at least he has played on the wing. McIntosh.
But then if we I think
He's only good when it's raining and all that. Yeah.
I don't.
Sorry.
I don't know if there was a part because Ritson was pretty quick, but if there was almost from Saints' point of view of Warrington went to Swinton and got Matty Ashton.
Yeah.
We'll go to Barrow when we get the lad who scores more tries than Matty Ashton.
Yeah.
But we won't give him the ball.
Yeah,
But he doesn't get a pass here though.
Yeah.
How did he score more tries than Matty Ashton?
but he's not in the same.
Matty Ashton must be twice as fast as him.
because he was in a much better team than Matty Ashton.
He must have been, yeah.
But Matty Ashton's twice the player that he Ritz. And the other thing is that
But is
they
that
forget,
not coaching though, rather than anything else? Because
Well-
Ashton's getting the games, isn't he?
Well, it could be, Steve, but one of the big things that people don't seem to give enough credence to is when Warrington signed Matty Ashton, he was a teenager. When Saints signed T. Ritson, he was 27.
Yeah.
He's not a kid.
He's not a kid, no.
He's 27
He's not
years
going
old.
to get better now, is he?
He's not going to change his game. If anything, he's just going to get slower.
Well, I suspect he doesn't get in the team because he's not trusted in defence.
I suspect he doesn't get in the team because he's not good enough.
Wasn't the first year a loan and then we signed him permanently then, and then we don't play him?
That's right.
Is that about why are we doing that?
I mean, the ideal sign for him to come in there was when Tommy got injured at Leeds, and then we decided to put Wacker Blake on the
Wacker Blake went to wing
Sorry,
and
Wonga played on the wing, yeah. Wonga the winger.
We decided to put him on the wing, and I'm thinking, wow,
What's going on here?
Give Ritson a chance. You know, we've not seen him. Give him a chance. Ideal opportunity. But
I've got to say, Darren, that I've seen enough of Ritson to not give him a chance anymore.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough chances.
the coaches are there day in day out watching him, and if they're not picking him, then there's something wrong, isn't
And
there?
that's exactly always the thing I always say when somebody says such a body, he's shit him, and then you say, how did he do in training today? And what was he like yesterday in training and the day before? Well, how the bloody hell do I know? Well, exactly, so keep your bloody gob shut.
Is he fit? Is he fit? Is he carrying an injury or anything?
I watched him in the reserves the other week. He was all right.
Do you know what I do think is 18 months to 3 years, and we've given a lot of credit to the signings that Rushy's made at Saints, and I think with Daz Clark and Matt Whitley, but you couldn't really go wrong when you're
Can't
signing
go wrong
those.
with them, no.
But our overseas recruits, and we went through this purple patch of everyone with Sirenham, Matautia, Parsi, we signed all the, and they were.
We haven't recruited speedsters or
We've
wingers,
had
have we?
we've had a couple of duds, and then when you look over the hill, when you look over Billings Lump and see the players they've got for free, whether it be Jake Wardle, whether it be Adam Kieran, whether it be Sam Walters, whether all players that we would cry out for, you know, you think that they've done us here. It's they've done us off the field here. They have because Wardle would be great for our team, but the one that really sticks for me is Adam Kieran because he was Catalan's first choice goal kicker.
Yeah,
and he was a great goal kicker, and he's a centre, and he's quick.
Yeah,
we missed out on him.
He's quite a big lad as well. I was at the pitch side on the Good Friday, and he's a lot taller than I thought he was.
Don't get me wrong. I choose a fit Percival before anybody in Super League, but he's
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
But he's too brave for his own body.
Well,
Percival.
we all thought Blake had been brought in to play centre, didn't we?
Well, yeah, but it's for me. He just reminds me so much of Opoati. In fact, to be fair to Opoati,
Not that good.
When you did get him on,
When he's on the pitch, he was fine.
Yeah,
We haven't seen any evidence he's that good yet.
but Opoati we did, didn't we? To be fair, Steve, right?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
And in the big games, Wellens always picked him.
Yeah.
If he was fit.
So is the attack thing? Is it? I don't want to criticise the coaching because I don't know enough. But what do you men think?
Well, by some accounts, the only thing Wonga's been playing is at the back of Imperial.
The only thing Wonga's been playing is his donga.
But, you know, I don't know.
You don't have to give me some editing.
Like I say, by all accounts, I don't know. I wasn't there. But yeah, I just think...
Till later.
You find him between the bins.
I think, like you mentioned before, I just think the past 2 years we need something. We need some signings that are going to give us some pace, going to give us some flair. You know, you've got like you mentioned Wigan, you've got French and Field. That they are. You know, you give them the ball, they're like a Jack Wellsby. You get excited with what
Flair
they're
is
going
a
to
good
do.
way of putting it,
You
yeah.
know, they've got that flow about them, but
And the pace of Marshall too.
yeah. You know, it reminds me now a bit with Saints. I know it's we've got a really, really good pack and that, but I think going back to like Ben Barber, we're all like give Jack the ball, give Jack the ball, give Jack the ball. You know, we almost need like a Coop coming in that, you know, guards that team with all the other players adding to that.
He made everybody else better.
He
Coop,
made
yeah.
everyone else, you know, work.
That's a great shout. That's a great shout. Yeah.
I think it's for me it's the lack of variety on attack. It's the same
Yes.
thing all the time.
Yeah.
There's not like there's not a grubber kick. There's not a.
Is
They're
that
just trying to overpower people, basically.
It looks like
Is that why
it's,
Moses stood out so much at Leeds?
Yeah.
it's a defence-based attack.
Yeah.
If you see what you see,
We're
you
just
get-
trying to
get the
strangle the
points.
life out of teams.
Strangle the life out of them and go over the top of them.
But it's been, for me, it's
But
been
it doesn't work
boring.
all the time.
But it worked on the Wolf for 3 years.
It doesn't work
We're
now.
still doing it, and it's not working, and we don't know how to fix it.
I mean, I think we've been boring since Holbrook. I mean, Wolf was the. I've never seen a team play percentages as well as what
It was
Christian
the same
Wolf's
strategy
team
for me,
did.
but we're just better at it.
Yeah,
At that time.
I
And we had more pace, like you said, with likes of Nagama and Grace. And
yeah, but I think it's like you say, it's boring.
Well,
it is boring.
It's boring.
we're used to having flying wingers at Saints running the ball in and having the space, and our wingers don't get any space at the moment, do they?
But that's not just at Saints. That's just good rugby league. That, Graham. That's entertaining rugby league,
Well, yeah.
isn't it?
Imagine if we had Anthony Sullivan now.
Plenty of other teams are scoring.
Playing for
wingers are
Saints.
scoring.
I mean, well, by all accounts, isn't, you know, Tommy Makinson's a lot of rumours flying around that he's supposedly going to Catalan next year. So, you know, if he is, very, very sad to see him go, but, you know, he is over the hill. He's you know,
High mileage.
Then
he's
we,
got
if he
another.
does go, we need 2 wingers for me.
We need 2 wingers, 100%. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of lads in the reserves who are quick.
I was just going to say,
I have seen them play. Is it Sambu and Green? Is Greenall?
we need to be a little bit careful
With young lads. Yeah.
We've had some very, very successful trips to the well that is our reserves in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think that 5 out of 10 of them turned into international players, we're at the stage where it seems like 1 out of 10 might be nailing a regular spot in them. I mean, Delaney has managed to do it, whereas at one point it seemed that whoever came from the reserves and the academy into the first team,
That is a question you'd ask. For how long can you keep doing it and
Exactly.
producing those results?
Yeah.
And there's, under Wolf, or maybe a bit before that, we had like 10, 12 players in the first 17 that came from the academy system.
you see, off the field, off the field, there's we were streets ahead of other clubs in that department, and then we had all this about at the back of Parbass that they're going to build this all singing, all dancing, this Saints Academy, this Saints Centre of Excellence, whatever it is, and we've not put a spade in the ground. In the meantime, Wigan have done theirs, Warrington have done theirs, and all the best kids at the minute are going to Wigan and Warrington.
Gee, we're behind Warrington in youth development.
Yeah,
It's never happened in my lifetime.
Yeah, well, they've done it now. Warrington,
they-
and Sam Burgess is a massive driver of this because they've seen what we've done, and all they've done is copy Saints. That's all they're doing is copying Saints. But
Having said that,
to stay there, we need to stay ahead of the curve.
Well, having said that, Wigan have got very few homegrown players in their first team.
That's true.
Well, they might not have in the first team, but I know that
Marshall
the setup they've
Marshall
got
and
there.
Smith.
I know the setup they've
And then
got
the club
there.
dorming.
Well, yeah,
up front.
they might have, but when you look at this season, they've like 11, 12, 13 of their scholarship players are from either Blackbrook or Thatterweath.
Right.
They should be at Saints.
They should be at Saints, yeah.
They shouldn't be at Wigan. When you've got scholarship players going to Warrington instead of Saints, and it's only because of the facilities that they're giving them at the minute.
Right.
But that's because whether it's a council issue, I'm certainly not pointing the finger at Saints here. There's more people obviously than Saints involved. But
Yeah.
how long ago? I mean, you follow this closely, Steve. Was that development in Par at the back of Parbass? They said, right, we're going to do this. It seems like it's been going on for years.
I was just going to say, it seems like an eternity ago now, doesn't it?
Well, Warrington have done theirs, and
Yeah.
Wigan, what they've done at Robin Park. I have a friend there whose child had a choice of Saints, Wigan or Warrington to go to at 17 years old, and the child said that Wigan knocked spots off the pair of them. And then you get in the same, I've got again, children of friends who've come from Tatooine and they've chose Wigan over Saints. Not because they support Wigan over Saints, but because of what they're getting. And if they've got aspirations to be a professional player, it's
Isn't that just
they're the key ages now for professional players, 15, 16 or 17, aren't they, to get them in?
So I think, yeah, it's right, that, but then when you, like we've just mentioned about our academy as being like, it's been like the golden goose for us for so many years.
But for the same reasons, we were able to attract players who are not St Helens lads.
Exactly, Steve.
People like Morgan Knowles and Matty Lees, who come from other areas.
They were Rochdale and
They want to come to St Helens, and now maybe they don't.
We all know the academy is brilliant. You know, it's one of the best up there with Wigan. But we need to add to that. We need to add that bit of talent, that bit something new. And I was just looking on my phone then, because on the weekend, I don't know whether anyone saw the Leeds and Warrington game.
Yeah.
They put an estimated salary spend.
Oh, I saw that.
Table.
That's right, yeah.
So Wigan were on top with 3.1 million, Catalan second with 3 million, Warrington third, well, bang on with Catalan with 3 million, and then it was Leeds, Huddersfield, Saints on 2.7 million, and then HullKR on 2.4 million. So when you look at that, considering Saints own their own stadium, apparently all the reports it's good. You know, the financial position is good. You've got a lot of teams there where you think we're on level par with Huddersfield for spend, and it's just like there must be money there to get some or attract some big name players.
I think
we are a lot better than Huddersfield, so we're getting better value for our spend.
Oh, we're getting good value for that spend. That's one of the first things I thought about. But you know, when we're talking about our attack and we need something new, we need something fresh, we've got money there.
The consolation I take from it is that in McManus and Rush, we've got two people that has kept that club at the absolute pinnacle for nearly 30 years.
Absolutely.
You know, Rush, he's come through from being an academy fella to running and doing a stupendously good job to being world champions in Australia.
Yep.
So I've got a lot of faith in them from that point of view. Then when you look at players and their ages and the contracts and how much money to go out and sign somebody big sign, but then when that, like you said, we keep saying about these players in the academy. I think Steve just mentioned a great thing then about players from other towns. If you remember Steve Beach a few years ago, Saints signed, was it something like 8 of Latchford Albion's They signed 8-9 players from the same age team of Latchford Albion. Now they can't do that because Warrington are going to sign those 8-9 players from Latchford Albion.
Do you know what? I think it might have been Rylands actually.
Rylands,
it was Rylands, because they
signed
did
that many,
didn't they?
It was Rylands.
Yeah,
it was
and everyone
Rylands.
said such and such a body. Rylands. Rylands are not going to have a team next year.
That's what happened, didn't it? They signed that many from the under-16s or under-17s, whatever it was at Rylands, that team then folded because there wasn't enough players, because Saints signed them all. But like when you say about the spend of the salary cap, did you also see the graphic that was the number of current players in Super League that each? And when we're at 28, there's 28 players that have come through Saints Academy currently playing in either Super League or Championship.
Yep.
Wigan are up at 40, I think it is.
Yeah.
London are at 30.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, it's not Saints you're doing it wrong, Saints you're doing it wrong. It's just like Saints, everybody's caught up. We're the leaders in this field.
Yeah, got to push on that.
Let's keep ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
Is the salary cap not designed to stop us from doing that? Isn't it designed so that decline is
designed to equalise, isn't it?
Yeah. And people say it's not working because it's only been, 4 grand final winners. But there's been about 7 or 8 teams won the league. If the league was given the weight that it is in other sports,
as it should be in ours,
then there would be, people would see the game as being more balanced.
Huddersfield would have been champions, Castleford would have been champions, Catalan would have been champions,
Warrington would have won one.
You're just pushing it, You're just pushing it.
I know that's hard to believe, but they would have.
But I think all those things, when it comes to your original question, Graham, about the attack
and the style of play,
I think all
has that got an effect?
All those things come into it, but I think we've had 2 hammer blows as a club in the fact that, well, all right, for me, I thought Danny Richardson was going to be the next Sean Long. When I saw Danny Richardson come through, I was so excited. I was beyond myself excited over Danny Richardson.
And he could kick.
And he could kick from anywhere.
He still can.
Well, yeah. So then Danny Richardson, that story happens. And then I remember me and Graham coming down here to Ruskin, watching the Saints and seeing Lewis Dodd and getting so excited.
Yeah.
My God, did we get it. And he got into the first team. And you remember that Good Friday match, the match that he did his Achilles.
So what happened to both those players? Are they coached out of being anything like Sean Long, or they've not got that?
I think Danny Rich, as when you listen to stories that come out, there was like an attitude issue.
Yeah.
And I think Lewis Dodd was just as bad as a shocking injury. Almost like, what was it? Was it Luke Walsh?
Yeah, that was horrible. Yeah.
But Lewis Dodd, we watched him come through the academy.
But he was a different player because he had a licence when we saw him in the reserves. He was doing different things. He was kicking the ball miles into touch for a start.
Well, when
he
he
was kicking
first-
goals from everywhere.
When he got in
had
the-
pace. He was running rings around people.
When he got in the first team, Graham, I mean, we played Wigan on that Good Friday, and he was destroying Wigan. And then he has that horrendous injury.
Yeah.
So I think we've been slipped a couple of cripplers there with them two. When you talk about developing an attacking player for the next 10 years, we've had two there that could arguably have been the best scrum halves in our game. One of them sort of fell off the rails, and one of them got badly hurt.
Yeah.
And whether he comes back from it, who knows? But we're lacking.
Both of them, bringing me on to my next point, is they're both goal kickers. And we cannot kick goals consistently. We can't kick into touch consistently. We can't kick grubber, or we can't vary our kicking game. And whether that's the coaches telling us that's how we're playing, or whether it's we play that way because we can't do it, is a different matter. You look at players like Jordan Abdul and Sneed, and you watch them.
Sneed when they came to play against us.
He was great
Sneed
against us.
won them the game with the kicking.
He ran the game, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely ran it for him.
We have got a player there. If you all think back to Wembley, Daz Clark destroyed us at Wembley for Warrington with his kicking game.
He did.
Do you remember? I mean, he absolutely destroyed us. But like you say, the likes of Sneed, Abdul, Mikey Lewis to a degree when you throw everything else in that he can do. But
It's not the way we play, is it? Or do we play the way we play because we can't kick? It's a sort of conundrum, isn't it?
I think the goal kicking thing.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
I think Dodd can kick. It's just not good enough variety. It's a bomb every time, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's not enough.
Well, he's proved in the couple of times he's done it, we've had repeat sets or we've scored tries. I
can't remember a 40-20. Was it Joey Lussick did the last one?
That's a good point.
against Lee, I think.
That's a good point.
That's another skill that we don't seem to do.
I think Wellesby's got the best short kicking game of it, but he's never in the position where you need a short kicker to be. Darryl Clark's got a short kicking game. Moses and Bai, as we've seen now, has got a kicking game.
He's not on enough, though, is he?
On the goal kicking side, I think it goes back longer. I mean, Lachlan Coote kicked goals for us, but he wasn't a goal kicker.
No.
Lachlan Coote.
Lachlan Coote got the job and was down on Eccleston Field.
I was just going to say, we all remember seeing him.
He didn't miss many, did he?
No. But we used to see him at the back of Broadway Library on Eccleston Fields,
practicing
for 3 or 4 hours a day, kicking goals. Like Tommy Makinson isn't a goal kicker, but he kicks goals. Percival isn't a goal kicker, but he kicks goals.
But when Dodd was in the reserves, he was kicking them for fun.
Everywhere.
So
why isn't he kicking him now?
Because of his Achilles. He
And
probably
he's
don't
kicked
want to
one or two since he's done his
He
Achilles.
did kick one that was against Salford, was it, when Percival got
When Percival and Tommy were
sent off?
Yeah.
I think it was that game.
I can understand Saints not wanting to risk him.
Kick one, yeah.
Kicking.
Come on. The amount of tries that we're scoring, it's not going to be at risk, is he?
Well, that's true. Yeah, you might only have one kick a game.
Yeah, but Saturday's game is an example. We kick a goal.
Yeah.
They kicked 3 and won the game.
But if we would have kicked at least one of them, I'm convinced we would have gone on to win the game. Because that 2-point cushion, 4-point cushion, psychologically
yes,
for you and the other team.
That goes back to the semi-final in Catalan last year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
That goes back to the semi-final at Castleford with Ryan Morgan and Percy missing.
Yeah.
It's going to kick us in the arse.
It has
again and again and again.
It has kicked us in the arse on a number of occasions.
And how can we go from a team, I mean, obviously, pre Wolf, etc., from a team that where you score, if another team scored 2 or 3 tries, we'd score 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know, because we could do that. How have we gone from being a team like that to being a team that can defend the hell out of anything?
Just in old look.
There's a balance you need.
Philosophy has changed, hasn't it? We've become a team now that believes in we'll keep you down to 8 points,
Yeah.
and that'll be good enough for us to win the game, even if we're rubbish in attack. We'll get more than 8 points
Because at some
More
point,
often than
Wolves,
not.
they'll barge over.
Yeah, which has worked
Yeah.
over the last 3 or 4 years.
Been very
At
successful.
the moment, they're always starting to creak a little bit, isn't it? But we are talking about 2 defeats in 7 games.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
it's not the end of
like
the world.
we're bottom league or anything.
Well,
But
I think we're doing it from a looking forward point of view, and with the club's best interest at heart. We need to.
Yeah.
Well,
We
I
need
had,
to look at it.
I had the start of the season. I remember saying to you boys, and I know Steve Orford said it for a while with his Wolf ball. But at the start of this season, if the North Stand at Saints was a terrace, I wouldn't have bought a season ticket. But it's not a terrace. I like watching my game from the sidelines. It's a seat with my mates, the same people who I've been going the game with for 40 odd years. So I need a season ticket because I sit on the halfway line if I want to sit with my mates on the halfway line. So I've got to get a season ticket. But for the first time in many years, this season I was like, you only have to miss 2 matches in a season, and it works. I mean, last season it worked out that I was paying something like 50 quid for a match at home because of work commitments and various things, so I might have missed 2 or 3 games at home. Ironically, I go to more away games than home games because they normally sit me on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, yeah.
But that, because I'm not getting, I don't mind paying 50 quid for a match if I'm going in there and I'm getting rip-roaring entertained. And I think that's a similar thing that Steve's always said. And at times, at the start of the 4 consecutive titles, Steve used to, because he's always sang the same song. When Steve used to say it, and I'm thinking, I'll take a boring match, just give me a trophy. I'll take a boring match, just give me a trophy. But now, I'll put my hand up, guilty as charged. We've had 4 successive titles. I know we lost everything last year, but it's boring.
There's 2
Your
teams.
Paul always says the
got
same
really
thing.
disheartened now
Yeah.
with especially this season. He was pre-season. He was not looking forward to the season ahead because of exactly that point. Because of Wolf Ball.
It's a great expression.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that
precursor of bottle ball.
The amount of times I've used it.
It's a great expression. It's perfect.
Saints, when I was growing up, Saints used to be the entertainers. Nobody better than Saints than being the entertainers in the league. Now, you look at 2 teams, Salford and HullKR. And if you look at them 2 teams, I get excited watching them. I get more excited watching them than I do Saints.
And do you do the same as me now? Because obviously all these matches are on television. Do you think, do you know what, I'm going to look at? I'm going to see what those 2 matches are like.
Watch HullKR.
I'll watch HullKR or I'll watch Salford depending on who's on, because it's obviously Saints are on, I will watch Saints, but if there's a choice of between matches, 100%, because they're entertaining to watch. They throw the ball around. They're like Saints of old, if you like.
Yeah.
Do you know what's concerning? I mean, you say HullKR and Salford there, but unbelievably, I think there's shoots of that coming from Warrington as well. I thought Warrington would be an absolute basket case under Sam Burgess, but
They're not.
It's early days, yeah.
Early days. They started well last year as well, don't forget.
But they did. But and I think, the overriding thing above all that is like back to that basic point of pace.
They've got that. They've certainly got that.
Salford have got the pace.
Yeah.
HullKR, Mikey Lewis is one of the most creative players I've
It's
seen.
going to be a very difficult game, I think, on Sunday.
I think you're right, Steve.
We'll come on to that in a sec. Just on talking points, just to add on to what we've been discussing about attack and styles of play. Disciplinary this year. Has it dropped off now? Because I'm seeing tackles and incidents now that were reds and yellows 3 weeks ago.
It's like that every season.
It's gone off a cliff.
Didn't they make a statement after the New Brown red card farce when we sent off for a clash of heads where they came out and said they won't do that again, and that's why it's not happening again.
Yeah, but by the same score, there were
that was what Matty Lee's got banned for.
Matty Lee's got a ban for it. There was James Bell got a ban for a borderline hip drop the other week.
Which there might have been a case for that on Wellesby.
Well, Wellesby got definitely hip dropped by Tom Davis. It wasn't even. I'm not sure it was a penalty.
No, it wasn't.
And Johnny Longmutt's got 2 head knocks that weren't even clearly looked at by the VAR.
Which is strange because he's only actually got 1 head.
Yeah. Well, he probably feels like he's got 2. He's got 2 at some points in a game, Johnny. But they were yellows a fortnight ago.
Yeah.
I think Paul Wellens made a cracking point. I can't remember which game it was after. But he basically said, if that's the rules, that's the rules. Fair enough. We can all live with it. We all accept it. But please don't next week, because someone else is wearing a different shirt,
do something different.
Yeah.
But time and time again, week after week after week, you're comparing like for like incidents, pretty much almost identical incidents. And
one's a ban and one's nothing.
2 different outcomes, and it frustrates all of us, all the fans on the terraces.
I think to compound it is every game's on the box.
Just going to say exactly that, mate.
Yeah. So
exactly
people can actually see the discrepancies, can't they?
Yeah. Between different. I mean, I think Jack Smith. I mean, I hate criticising referees because ultimately
it's awkward. It's awkward. Yeah.
But when you get the likes of Jack Smith, has got a total different perception of an incident than maybe what Aaron
Moore or Liam Moore.
They're just totally different perceptions and interpretations of the same thing.
One thing I've thought about in a game, if they're all televised, I don't know how many is on the disciplinary panel or whatever it is, but to have that consistency, or to try and have that consistency, wouldn't it be a good idea if the referee is not sure about that incident, send it up to the video referee with disciplinary member there, sat there next to him. They make that decision. So then you've got this panel of people. You only need 6 people sat there. They go to all these different games and sit with the video referee. If it's an incident like a head incident,
video referee is in. Is it Wimslow?
Knutsford or something.
I think it's Wimslow. So it's like it's like the hub.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they go everywhere.
So so it's very doable. And then you have one of them people sat there and they make that decision. Because then you know you're getting that consistency, you can try and get that consistency.
What they're doing is that they're letting the games run with a referee and another referee on the video, and then they look at them all again on a Monday. A different panel look at them all again and pull people in for things that were missed in the game.
But to have them in the box.
But if one of them was in the box and on a particular, because they'd have to be in the box for all the games because it works like football now.
But it's split up into 3 days, and
there'd have to be more consistency. But you can't have two referees looking at the same incident. You don't get the same results.
I'm not convinced that even the match review panel members would spot some of these incidents live in that situation.
But
they get those decisions because they look through the footage endlessly on a Monday, and scour every game and watch it back and all that sort of stuff. It took me hours to find James Bell's hip drop that week he was suspended. I had no clue what it was for.
Well, then the other side of that, Steve, as well, is that even the MRP, you could get, it'd be like us 5 sat around this table watching all the matches and coming up with a bunch of decisions, and then next week us 5 watch 5 different matches, see the same instance, but we come up with a different decision. Even the MRP is contradicting itself but then we heard a few names mentioned on it, the likes of Paul Cullen and yet this man is in charge of what is fundamentally the thing that is driving the game in the directions it's going. Then you've got
2 of the dirtiest players who ever played the game on the panel.
And you've got Danny Sculthorpe, who, if anybody that follows Danny Sculthorpe on social media will soon realise within a matter of days that Danny Sculthorpe ain't fit to be running a bath, never mind to be on the match review panel.
Do you know what they do need
this
on
is
there?
Ludicrous.
Nick Fossard.
I mean, I believe somewhere along the line our own beloved Phil Vevers and Alan Hunter.
Phil Vevers is on it.
Do me a favour, when you've got people like Kevin Sinfield, when you've got people, numerous people in the sport of rugby league.
Isn't he still schmoozing with the other code, Kevin?
He might be schmoozing with the other code, but that's just a name I've thrown out there, Steve. There's got to be better people than the likes of what is that MRP.
Anything to do with the fact that all those people you've mentioned, or most of them, played the game in a very different era.
There is that.
Under very different rules.
There's a different era, different rules, but I also think there's an awful lot of they still want to be prominent, especially with Paul Cullen. I think his ego's as big as Birkenhead. And
well, he's the one that does the phone calls on a Monday to the coaches to say who's been.
At the start of the season, the players were going to strike because of the farce that went on
after the new ground,
and then nothing happened. Like, you know, we're still getting these ridiculous decisions. We're still getting these ridiculous.
Because Robert Hicks apologised.
Yeah, probably, but
and it moved on.
Yeah.
What I can't understand is surely if you look at something, right, you're beginning the season, those incidents that we've been on about, like the New Brown one, right, that's come through, and then there's been the Ferrara, right, okay, so you've got that footage as the template. So if you see something like that comes up again, you say, well, what do we do here? Let's refer to that. That's our template. We said on that's, we give X, Y, and Z, or we don't give anything.
Yeah.
So is that the same as that? I mean, if you go through these things like that, and you've got, what you give from early doors, I mean, if enough of it changes, then that template changes. So you've got some comparison. Then if somebody else comes in, do you know what I mean? So there's a bit more consistency in they've got a reference
that
point.
Word again, consistency.
Yeah.
But does it depend on who is on that match review panel?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't in that case, should it?
Who's playing the week after? So, for instance, James Bell has been our standout player. One player before Good Friday gets banned is James Bell. Straight away, that sends shockwaves through this Saints fans, Saints club.
Ben Curry was up this week. Should have got a ban for me, but he's only got a fine. He's playing in the cup.
Yeah, so I mean, Tyler Dupree. I don't think he get anything from. Sorry, he didn't get anything for the elbow. Just elbowed myself.
He got banned. 4 matches. Tyler Dupree got banned for something else.
But he didn't get
something different that game.
Yeah. So it's
something that was like nothing. I thought
it makes you wonder, and I'm sure they don't, but it makes you wonder, and because of the inconsistency, it's just that thing of who's on the match review panel that week. Because is it a load of Wiganers, and they're thinking, We'll ban James Bell here. We'll get him off the field.
Do you know what? You could have that, but not from the point of view of they want any particular team to win, but from the point of view of it brings attention to those people who we've mentioned. It's a bit like when you get somebody on. There used to be a guy, I don't know if he's still on it, on TalkSport, a fella called Adrian Durham. He used to say stupid.
One of the very worst of all time. That fella.
He used to say stupid things just to get a reaction.
Shock jock.
Yeah. And for me, I sometimes think that this MRP, because next minute then, Paul, I'm Paul Cullen and I'm big and I'm great and everybody look at me, and you're just like, pipe down, shut up and get somebody proper in to do the job.
Well, I think there's a lot. I was looking at this today, looking through it. When you get to the appeal level, the chairman of the panel is a judge, and that's dealt with by somebody legally qualified. There's a whole list of judges who were on that panel. But the MRP, there are a number of people. I think, why are they on it? Why should they? There's about 20 names.
I was going to say, didn't we say
it should be
smaller,
6 maybe tops, and who do it all at the same. And Monday, Tuesday, every week they do it all, and they get it consistent, and they know what they're doing, and they know what they're playing.
Is it because there's a panel of 20 and it's not always the same people?
Correct.
Judging them.
I think that's what.
And that's where you get your inconsistency.
That's the source of the problem. For me.
I think you get as well, Steve. I mean, I don't know if it was on a podcast or if we was having a chat or if it was me, you, and Parky or whoever, but. In this group, it might even be more than 20 people. So you've got medical people, you've got legal people, you've got ex-players. But in amongst all of it, I think, isn't there only one official? Isn't there only one former match official?
I can't remember it. Well, I looked at it today and I didn't recognise any referees or whatever.
There's more doctors and legal people on it than there are players and officials put together.
But that shows you where the priority is protecting the game from certain legal threats.
So if
don't have a problem with that, as long as you put a doctor on the 6 who were looking at everything all week.
So then let's go full circle back to this point about the accidental clash of heads between 2 players off the same team.
Yeah.
If an accidental clash of heads between Matty Lees and Luke Thompson results in Matty Lees getting banned because Luke Thompson had hold of the ball, and because he's got hold of the ball, it's up to Matty Lees to have the responsibility not to have the head clash.
Yeah.
So if 2 players from the same team have a head clash, if it really is about protecting the players.
Who's getting banned?
Who's getting banned?
Well, if it's Wigan, both of them for me. but neither of them will be banned because it's a class as an accident.
but Matty Lee's and
that
Luke
can
Thompson is
happen,
an accident.
yeah.
Well, isn't an
But one of
accident
them-
class between opposing players an accident?
Yeah, but then if it's opposition players, one of them's got to get a ban. Just because it's an irresponsible head contact. If it's the same team, somebody somewhere's got an irresponsible head contact because you don't want to go around banging noggins into each other, do you?
And one of those defenders would probably have gone into the tackle irresponsibly.
Well, there you go.
Likelihood to cause the incident.
But it then comes round to the fact, see,
Friendly fire is not a penalty, is it?
it's fast, but it's not just a rugby league issue. Steve Orford and myself are massive followers of the NFL. The most cash-rich, resource-rich sport on the planet, bar none. They've had a nightmare with the head concussion to the tune of billions in payment. But now
Have they just shortened the line-offs? How
They
far
have.
you stand when the kick-off?
they've shortened the kick-off.
They've changed all the kickoffs, yeah.
They've changed the rules. But the other thing they're having monumental problems with at the minute is the hip drop. Because they are losing, and Steele tell you there's people like the top players in the game. There's a fella who played for Baltimore last season, Mark Andrews. A hip drop that wasn't as bad as some you see. Ankle broke, and there's like dozens of players in there going out with broken legs, snapped Achilles, all these different things. So they want to get rid of it. So it's not just a rugby league thing, but the whole MRP issue, and it's just an absolute nightmare. And I've no idea.
It's still not. It's still, despite the best endeavours, it's still not consistent, is it?
And that's the only thing I think, as Darren said there about Wellow's comments, is whatever will case it arse,
We'll deal with it,
but
yeah.
let's have it consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not.
And it's far from it, is it?
Far from it, because there is, and I'm not just
Do you know what
doing
they
it
should
as a
do?
Saints fan. There were other games I've watched this week
They should
where
get-
I've seen incidents that I think, oh, he should be banned, or he's going to get a letter or a phone call. Nothing.
Yeah, should do. The match reports for of those incidents, whatever instance they are, bang them into AI on the computer, and at least you get a better, more consistent answer out of that than you will out of some of the match review panels.
Right, we better draw the line there because time's marching on. Let's have a look at our next 4 fixtures before our next podcast. Some interesting games coming up, starting this Sunday with WarringtonWolves at home. Who wants to have a preview of this? Steve, your
Well, I said
thoughts
before,
on this? Yeah.
a few moments ago, I think it'll be very, very tough. Really tough game because the way where we're playing, particularly in attack. One thing that gives me confidence though is I think Warrington will find a way to lose at Saints. They normally do, and I think that'll just
No matter where they are, they'll find a way.
we'll be all right. I think they'll struggle to break us down.
Yeah.
Our defence is pretty good,
Yeah.
especially at home with the crowd behind us. So I think we'll sneak through, but I don't expect it to be a stroll at all.
No. Anybody else want to have a thought on this game?
No, I think Saints will win by about 10.
You think?
Yeah, I think we'll score a couple of tries. 10-0. No, one thing.
That'll be 8-0 because we can't get a goal.
It'll be 8-0, yeah.
One thing I hope for is a big crowd, because obviously Challenge Cup games in the past have been
Yeah.
poorly attended.
The
It's at
the
home.
Leeds game was nobody there.
No,
Looking at
it's,
it, yeah.
it's a big game. It's at home, and let's hope that the fans turn up to support the team, because it could turn out that might be a couple of few thousand behind Warrington end and making a bit more noise than our lads.
It's a shame, yeah. We've not really. We was going to maybe touch on the attendances, but obviously we've got carried away with other stuff. But
Yeah.
you're right about that. I think Warrington will bring a shed full of fans,
And I think
especially after what they've done at Leeds.
I think they'll throw it around from the first minute as well.
Yeah.
And our fans, we've still got this issue. It should be in your season ticket. It's never been in your season
No, it's
ticket.
never has,
Bloody stop talking me your dick out. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
It's another idea.
Since when is your season ticket? When is your
It's a
challenge
bit of a
cup?
habit now, isn't it? Yeah.
But and then, so I think the attendance will be lower on the pitch. I think our boys will come out massive.
Yeah.
Especially because of the loss against Catalan.
because of what happened in
We'll
Catalan.
have a reaction because I think
they'll come out
they'll be
massive.
disappointed after Saturday.
And, and Warrington will come absolutely cock a hoop. They're coming in with a wet sail, aren't they, so to speak, after a superb performance at Leeds. And they know that they have got everything we haven't got, as in speed.
Yeah.
But I think we need to do exactly what we did to Wigan. And,
Yeah.
and we will beat them.
Yeah.
If we can defend like... But if they do get a break, as with Wigan, if they do get a break,
they'll probably score.
they'll probably score.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm always confident in the way what we do. We're just worried about certain aspects of our game that are causing us problems. I think they're not unfixable, and I think we win. But we need to have that same defence that we did against Wigan.
I think at Catalan up to 55 minutes.
Yeah,
and
we were
the momentum changed,
Yeah.
and then we started making a ridiculous amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, I think
be fine.
For all the speed Warrington have got, I think we're better than them.
I think I would agree with that. You okay with that, Steve?
Yeah, so before I think Warrington will find a way to lose it.
And
after that,
I still think Luke Littler will win it for him.
If he's playing, I'm changing my mind.
Hey, they should have Bully and Littler out at half time playing darts.
Is he replacing Paul Vaughan?
have you got the same weight as Paul Vaughan? Probably.
I think that's Stuart Littler, isn't it?
Well, after that, for the next month, we've got what I would class as 3 pretty winnable games for us. We've got Hull the week after. Hull are in a bit of a state at the moment, I think.
I think we've got 2 winnable ones. I'm not so sure about the 4th one.
No.
I don't know.
We could have done a whole show about the state of Hull.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could.
they are
Yeah.
absolutely dreadful. If we don't beat them by at least 30,
Well, this is where we say
it's
about
time to
piling.
back up and go home.
but we only score 3 tries.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to pile points on, don't we?
But I think they're London level bad. So we should score more than 30, I think.
Well, London nearly beat them, didn't they?
They should have.
Yeah,
They
they
should
should
have.
beat London, should they?
So are we looking at playing Ritson against Hull?
We need to do something.
Michael Smith.
He don't. He just might be around corner. Actually, when we go out.
He does wander around here, yeah. So Hull should, and by any calculation, should be a home banker. We play the Giants after that. 2 home games coming up.
Confident for both.
Confident for both. Yeah.
Is that away? The Huddersfield game was at home.
Home.
Yeah. Fancies it. I mean, we beat them by what, 28-0 away.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to
That was
say,
pretty
that was a great
comfortable.
performance.
well, we were at Huddersfield. We was at Huddersfield, weren't we, for that?
Yeah, you didn't buy me a pint though.
No, but you didn't buy me any chips, so you can.
Fair enough.
yeah, touche. And that I think was our best performance of the season.
Yeah, it was
that.
brilliant.
The attacking, like you said before.
didn't we?
But it was only when they got well away.
Yeah, it was.
Up till them getting well away,
Two
that's
tries at
then
the
they
end.
started the flamboyant stuff. Up till then, it was
It was
still
6-0 at 40 minutes, wasn't it?
But we can't. That's what. But the flamboyant stuff, we can do it.
Are we lacking confidence then? Is that what we're saying?
As you said, we've got either lacking confidence or they're just completely carrying out a coach's instructions.
It won't be pretty, that game. Us playing against Watto Ball is going to be ugly.
Watered down wolf ball against
Yeah.
Watto ball.
to be fair, Adam Swift is on fire for him though. I was playing
is.
really well.
He is, yeah.
Scored 8 tries in the last 2 games.
He's top try scorer.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
8 tries.
But he's getting passes there, isn't
He's
he?
overtaken Ash Hanley, who scored 7 in about 5 minutes
is it
and
that-
stopped scoring altogether.
That's what I was saying before about wingers getting passes in other teams.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that Nagama and Swift scoring scoring for fun?
Yeah. Wonder where they came from.
And then we finish the month off with a trip to HullKR.
Now
It is going to be
That'll be a tough
That'll
one.
be a tough one.
I mean, even going back to when HullKR were very, very average bottom half team, it was hard to go there and win.
Yeah, because it was so unpredictable,
you're
weren't
right.
they?
But the quality they've got now, it's going to be even more.
Yeah.
So I can see it being a very similar kind of game to the Catalan game.
Yeah.
But we might be better at them than that. Grinding it out.
That's a fair
Which might get us through. But if they open up and play, and we give enough room to play expansively, I think they'll run through us like Salford.
I know there's obviously there's always pressure on coaches, isn't there? But pre the 4 games that we've just had, I thought this is a really pivotal time for Wello in his coaching career, because
Well, we were thinking that last month. Yeah.
we've had a full season with him, and then on the back of that, you're thinking, right, 4 games here, potentially we could lose them all. I think the next 4 are also as pivotal, because you've got the Challenge Cup against Warrington, so potentially that could be banana skin. But then Hull and Huddersfield, you want to see us turn our attack.
So performance, don't you?
If we're not scoring sort of 30 points past Hull minimum,
That's
Hull
worrying, yeah.
FC, then I'll be disappointed because other teams have done it. So come the end of the season, when you're looking at this league table, you're thinking, well, why aren't we like top there? Oh, hang on a minute, yeah, because we only scored one try up
Well,
against
that's why
Hull.
we're currently 5th
Exactly.
and not 2nd.
Yeah.
Because of points difference.
And
And
same
so-
happened last season.
I was
didn't
just
it?
going to
last
say.
year.
I was just going
And
to
last
say
year, same
yeah.
thing.
that the big thing in all that is that there's no lesson being learned from last season because it's a carbon copy of why we didn't finish top last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, top
That's
two,
a great point, though.
top two is huge for the playoffs because
Yeah.
you get at home semi-final in that second week.
Well, that's what
we had
did
to
us,
go to
didn't it?
Catalan, which did us in, didn't it?
So we had to go play Warrington at home first and then go to Catalan.
Yeah.
I think if when we get to the HullKR game and win, lose or draw, whatever we do, then we can look back and go, right, okay, where are we in the season now? Because I bet we're about third. I bet we're about third.
It's a good shout because with two Leeds mediocre, Wigan and Catalan, our two main rivals, Warrington the perennial bridesmaids, and then like you say Hull, Huddersfield.
You've got to put points on them.
We've had a mix there of the best and worst of everything.
Yeah.
We see where we come out of it, but the Hull and Huddersfield at home after what we did away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need a result against Warrington, but we need a performance against Hull and a performance against Huddersfield.
But you could, like you said before, you can imagine against Hull at home, we might win by 8 points. But you know what I mean? It could be that scenario, and everyone will be going, "What on earth have we just done there?"
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult.
Because all the teams are beating Hull by 50.
Yeah.
So we need to make a statement there.
Well,
I think.
didn't Huddersfield just put 50 on them at Hull?
56 was
Yeah,
it?
56 it was.
Yeah. At Hull, yeah.
At Hull, yeah.
It was 10 points to 6, I think, after about 20 minutes, and then
And it was 40 by
and
half time.
40 points to 10 by half time.
Fell off a cliff,
They
didn't it?
just capitulate, don't they? And then they just give up.
in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, they've got a couple of bans from that game as well, I think. And they missed the Saints game. I think Liggy Sow and somebody else have got 2 matches today. So they'll
Sow's got a ban,
Brown,
yeah.
Jack Brown, I think.
Yeah, it's because they're not playing in the cup; they're already out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Oh,
what
that's
do
right, yeah.
for Hull is did any of you clock that young lad? He had number 40 on his back. The young, was he a scrum half?
Charles.
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 Yeah. I know he had a couple of
Looks a player, doesn't he?
horrors, but he's got he's got a kicking game on him as well.
Sign
Good
him up.
prospect, yeah.
Yeah.
Difficult
Sign him up.
environment to develop in, though, isn't it?
Sign him up.
Very difficult environment to develop in, that though.
Well, you have
When
to
they're getting
wonder
battered
whether
every week.
you have to wonder whether Tony Smith's been brought in to clear it out and bring the youngsters through. Because he's
I'm really surprised at the impact he's not had.
Yeah.
Because I think he's an excellent coach.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they're just drifting so
drifting
much.
like a barge, aren't they?
And there's some talk, I did see some talk on social media about how certain players don't like him and aren't playing for him. So if that's the case, there's no sign of it getting any better as long as he's there, really.
See, like we've always said about Tony Smith, he sorted Leeds out. He turned Warrington, he transformed
No,
Warrington.
he's an excellent coach, I
And
think.
when he went to HullKR in the second division,
He's a winner.
he's worked miracles there. But does it just show? We used to say when Radford was in charge, does it show just how bad Hull is?
Yeah.
It's a barn pot of a place, isn't it? It's
Well, I mean, people call Warrington, but Hull are just as bad.
yeah,
Just as bad.
Worse.
Yeah. The amount of fans that they've got, 12,000 average, something like that.
Yeah.
And just to put it out there, Graham, the franchising question, Hull are a grade A licensed club.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what results they get this year, they're in Super League next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and forevermore, because they've got a grade A licence. So, do they care? Are they bothered?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's true.
So is that. And on that bombshell, lads, I'll say thank you very much to Steve Beach for the buttons again.
Cheers, mate. No problem.
Thanks, AD.
Cheers, Glenn.
Thanks, Darren, and
problem.
thanks, Steve. And
Pleasure as always.
We'll see you all again in a month's time with a review of what we've just discussed. So, good night and goodbye.